Okay, you guys, I guess I'm live. Okay. You have to bear with me. This is my first time doing this, but I want to welcome you guys. Like I said, it's my first time doing this, so hopefully after a few times I get it right. But I want to try and do this maybe twice a week, maybe Mondays and Wednesdays. So yeah, this is Paint with Nay, Mondays or Wednesdays, whatever day I choose. So what we're gonna paint today is a galaxy forest. So it's gonna be all step by step. So let's make sure we have all of our supplies. We have some brushes that we need. So when we're painting this galaxy forest, we're gonna need our big brush. So this is kind of like a 1-inch brush. We're gonna use our background. We're gonna use this for our background. And then we have a medium flat brush as well. So we need this brush to do the trees. So we're going to do some trees with this brush, a medium flat brush. And then you're also going to need your water cup. And we're going to use 4 colors today. So we're keeping it simple. We're going to use white, blue, pink, and black. So 4 colors. Okay. And then lastly, you're going to need some napkins. Make sure you have something to wipe your brushes off on. So I have some napkins here. And we're going to get started, you guys. So let's do it. We have like the playlist going. I don't want to keep it too slow. I want some kind of upbeat and fun. It's the middle of the week. You know, you want to let some stress off. And we're going to paint. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 brushes in my water cup. Okay. So here it is. Oh, and you also need an additional plate as your paint palette. So let me grab that. I don't have mine. Let's go ahead and grab it here. So I just use a regular paper plate for my mixing plate. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pour some white. Okay. I'm also going to pour some pink. Okay, so I have my white, I have my pink, and let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and grab our 1-inch brush. And sometimes what I like to do is bring my bristles back together. So I'll basically drag my fingers up against the bristles going upwards. And then we're going to go ahead and start with the middle section right here of the painting. So if you notice, the middle section is a lighter pink, but it's very textured. So I'm going to show you how to get those textured strokes. We want to start with our lighter pink, like I said before, then later we'll expand into a darker pink. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some white. Now just place it somewhere else on my paint palette. And I'm going to grab a little bit of pink, mix it together. So I get a nice light pink color. So there's my light pink versus my darker pink. So now that I have my light pink, what I'm going to do is add it on in a diagonal motion. Okay, so when I want it to be very textured, I add X marks. So I'm going in and I'm just moving my brush around with X marks, like literally making those X's. But they don't have to be super geometric X's like that. Just swiftly move your brush, turn your wrist around. You're making those X marks, but I'm doing this in a diagonal pattern. I'm going all the way down from corner to corner. Grab some more. Okay. Yeah. Okay, see what I have? Diagonal. You're moving your brush around in X marks, but you want to drag it from the top right corner to the bottom left corner. And this is what you should have. Okay. So go ahead and do that. Finish up with that. And then what we want to do next is we want to expand. We want to expand the galaxy with a darker pink. So it looks like it's a nice transition from light pink to dark pink. So I'm just going to wipe off my brush. No need to really rinse it off. I'm just going to wipe it off. And then I'm going to dip into my darker pink. So right here, I'm going to dip into it like this. So it's at the edge of my brush. And I'm going to add it to the ends of the lighter pink. So right here, still doing those X marks, right? So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to add some X marks right along the edge of the light pink. If I need more paint, I dip into it. I'm going to continue right along the edge of the light pink. Okay, but if you look at this, it's very sharp transition. It's not smooth at all. We want it to blend. So what you want to do to make the darker pink blend to the lighter pink, you want to dip your brush into a little tad bit of water. So you're just going to go right on the surface. Don't dunk it. Just grab a little bit. And then you want to add it right where the dark pink meets the light pink. You want to add it in, then use your finger and smear it like this. See that? I'm smearing it. And it's kind of softening up the edges so it's not as sharp. Smear it. Smear it again. You see that? You see the difference between this top part versus the bottom? So I want to keep going. The water is still in my bristles. Tap on it and then smear it. You want the darker pink to blend into your light pink. See that? I'm going to keep going. And look at that. We are blended, y'all. We are blended. So let me finish off here. And I want to leave some room. I want to leave some room for my blue at the bottom right. Okay. So once you do that, we're going to go ahead and do the other side. We're going to do the exact same thing. So we still have our pink on our brush, so no need to rinse it off. I'm going to dip into a little bit more of that pink. And I'm going to go right on the opposite side. So ready here, making those X marks, right? Making those X marks right along the side of my light pink. And again, you see the difference between this side, how it's blended versus this side. So same thing we just did. We want to dip into a little bit of our water, right? Grab a little bit and use the water to blend the dark pink and the light pink. And the reason why it's going to blend is because acrylic paint, it blends when it's wet. So we're using the water to basically make it wet. Again, the light pink that dried up. Tap it right here and then smear it. You're moving your finger around almost like you're trying to erase something. And you start to see blend. Look at that. So I'm going to keep going down. Smear, smear, smear. Smear. And keep going. Keep going down. See that? Now look at that. We blended, y'all. We are blended. Okay. So go ahead and add your finishing touches to the pinks, and we're going to move on. So here I'm just adding some minor touch-ups to it. And now I'm going to move on to the center. If you notice in the original painting, there is like these little spots, little blotches of whites. Before we do the blue, we're going to add that in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse off my brush. Make sure it's nice and clean. I'm rinsing it off. I'm going to wipe it off on my napkin. Get that extra water out. Then I'm going to dip into my white. I'm going to grab a small amount of my white. And then I'm going to add my white in the center. So when I add the white, it's not too much. You just want these little bursts of white. So I'm going to add some up here, make my X mark, and smear it. Shove it around. Don't think about it. Just do it. Just add that white on there. Okay, I'm going to do some more. I'm not going to go all the way down because I know this is going to be covered with black. So So I'm going to add some maybe here, smear it, shove it, move it around. Okay. Add some more. And you start to see, you see that here and also here. I'm not going to worry, again, I'm not going to worry about any down here. So I'm going to add maybe a little bit up here. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, but we are going to come back and do some splatter. I don't know if you've done splatter before, but splatter is pretty fun. We're going to add it on so it looks like a real galaxy. But now I'm just going to rinse off my brush and go into some blue, you all. Okay, so I'm going to pour my blue. I'm not going to pour too much. It's not a lot of that blue. It's mostly on the corners. So let's rinse off our big brush. Get that pink out. Wipe it off on your napkin. And dip into your blue. It's the blue right here at the edge of my brush. And I'm going to continue on with the same thing that I've been doing, those X marks. So I'm going to go right along the edge and make those X marks. Now, it's not going to blend as well. Your blue, it's not going to blend as well as it did with the pinks. Because, of course, blue is so much of a darker color. It's such a contrast. That's going to be so much harder to blend it. Well, it's not going to be so much harder. It's just not going to be blended as easily as we did the pinks. So I put it on there just like that. And my pink probably dried up. So remember what we said before, it only blends when both colors are wet. So I kind of wiped my brush off, wiped it off with the blue. And then I'm going to go back into my pink. I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of my pink. Because what I'm doing is, I know my blue is wet, but my pink is dry. So it's going to be really hard to blend. So I want to get my pink to be wet once again. I'm going to add it in right by the blue and just smear it. And you should kind of see it turns into this almost purplish color. Because we know when we mix blue and red, we get purple. Same thing. Pink is very close to red on the color wheel. So when you blend blue and pink, you get purple as well. So I'm going to keep going down, adding my pink in there, and then just smearing my pink with my blue. Okay. So I'm just moving my finger around. Okay, and then that's what I get. So I'm going to do the same thing at the top, going back into my blue, make those X marks. You don't want to grab too much of your blue. Making those X marks. I didn't rinse off my brush. I just went right into the blue. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back into the pink, grab a little edge of your brush, add the pink right beside the blue, and use the pink and smear it into your blue. Okay. All right, and that's what I have. So this is your background. Look at that. You see the difference with the blues and the pinks? It's not as easy to blend it with the pink and the blue, but these are very nicely blended. But we don't have to worry about that because we're going to add a lot of details that's going to cover up all of that. It's going to camouflage it. Okay, so what we're going to do next is some splatter, you guys. I know a lot of people love doing splatter. Some people have never done it, so I'm going to show you how to do it. When you do splatter, you're basically trying to make a small puddle, and then you're going to use your brush and dip into that puddle and then splatter it onto your canvas. So the paint needs to be thinned out to have a puddle because the puddle is like full of water, right? So we're going to switch to our smaller flat brush. And what you want to do is you want to grab a little bit of white. Don't grab too much. Grab a small amount. Put it to the side. See that? Then you want to dip into your water. Dip, dip, dip. The water from your bristles, mix it into your white. So you're thinning your white out. But you don't want it to be runny. I can tell it's already super runny. So I want to grab some more of my white to thicken it back up. You're basically looking for a melted ice cream consistency. So it shouldn't be too runny and it shouldn't be too solid. So this should be a little bit better. Okay, see that? So once it's all thinned out, there's one or two ways to do your splatter. You can use your brush and hold it against your canvas and pull the bristles back like a slingshot. And when you pull it back, it splatters onto it. But you know, your girl just got her nails done and whatnot. So I want to keep it a little bit more clean this time. So I'm going to show you guys a different method. I'm going to grab my second brush and kind of go like this and hit it against my brush. And you see, it gets some splatter on there. So I'm going to keep going just like that to add the splatter. You probably didn't see it when I just showed you, but you should be able to see it now. It's like a lot more on there. Can you see it? Yeah, see that? So keep going. I'm just going to hold it flat and add the splatter on that way. Hold it down so you can see it, what I'm doing. And it makes us money the best way he knows how. Another party waiting, holding the crowd. Listen to me. Listen to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. I know that you're gonna have it your way and nothing. You want a lot of splatter. This is a galaxy, so we're gonna add a good amount. And it does get everywhere. It does. See, it's all in my hands. So keep that in mind. All right, so let me show you what I have. Okay. So once you have that, you're gonna need it to dry. So especially if you use a lot of paint, it's gonna take a little minute to dry. So you may need a blow dryer. But sometimes what I do is if I have like something very sturdy and thick, like a book or whatever it is, I'll fan it a few times. Okay. So I'll fan it. And acrylic paint, one thing about it that a lot of people like using it, why a lot of people like using it is because it dries fast. It dries very fast. Okay. So once you fan it a few times and you blow dry it and it's dry, we're going to start to add on our hill. Okay. When did you get in here? Okay. My sister's in here, y'all. I didn't even notice. So the acrylic paint, I get it from Walmart. So let's continue on. So go ahead and dry it. And then I'm going to pour some black. Okay. So it shouldn't take long to dry it off. It should take like, I would say maybe 5 to 8 minutes. So now I'm going to pour my black. I'm going to make sure my brush is nicely rinsed off. I'm going to wipe it off on my napkin. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the hill at the bottom. So I'm going to dip into my black, just like this, dip, dip, dip. And when we're adding the hill on there, we're going to start off on the right side and just basically curve it downwards. Okay, it should start off a little bit higher and then basically you're going to descend. So I have the black on my brush. I'm going to start off a little bit higher. Now I'm going to drag it down. I'm just making humps in there, but you want to make sure you go downwards. Okay, that's what you should have. Okay. Are you studying while you're watching and painting? So let's keep going, you all. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my hill now. So I'm going to move my brush left to right. You don't have to worry about adding texture or anything like that. At this point, we're going to make sure it's very smooth. Fill the whole thing in. Dragging it left to right. You want to make sure you drag it left to right with long strokes. Don't do it short like that because you see the brush imprint. Okay. And then that's what I have. So go ahead and add yours on there. Can I play music on YouTube on live? I don't know if they're gonna give me a copyright strike. We'll see. We'll see. Remember, this is my first one, you all. And I'm also doing this, taking time out to do this. This is like what I love doing. So if you want to, I do accept Cash App donations. If you want to tip me, whatever it is, you're learning something, you're having fun. Let me add it in here. How do you, okay. I'm not sure. Oh, here. Okay. So if you're learning something, you're having fun, maybe you want to show a little love to me. Let's see. Where's the dollar sign? Okay, here. It's dollar sign. Oh, okay. Dollar sign. It's amazing art. Okay. I'm reaching over to do this. Okay. Oh, don't play the music. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I added my Cash App in there. If you guys want to show some love, you're learning something, you're having fun. I am doing this just out of my free time. So yeah, you definitely can. Okay, so let's keep going. Is that Keel? Let's keep going. We're gonna start to adding in the trees. So I'm gonna dip into my black. Okay. And then when we add the trees, if we want to do a very tall tree, we're going to do a long line. For short trees, shorter lines. I'm glad you and your family are paying together. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the first tree here. I'm going to make this one maybe a little like a medium size, not too tall and not too short. So I want to hold my brush vertically, and then I'm just going to drag it straight down. So ready? I'm going to drag it straight down. And that's the very first step. You want to add your vertical line. Okay. So now that you have your vertical line, I want you to listen closely how we do these trees. Your trees are almost like Christmas trees. So we know Christmas trees, they're a little bit short at the top. The further you go down, the line should be wider. So when I start off at the top, I'm not going to use the full length of my brush. I'm going to kind of use the corner of it. So I want to tap it a few times. You're just making little taps of horizontal lines. See, it's really short. And the further I go down, I start to use the full length of my brush, right? So here I keep tapping. That's all you're doing. You're tap, tap, tap. But you want to gradually make them a little bit longer the further you go down. See that? You can also do it kind of almost like a zigzag, or think of it like a seesaw. But notice I'm starting to make them a little bit longer. But all I'm doing is tapping, tap, 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 tapping on my brush. I'm going to keep going all the way down. Okay, and that's my first tree. I'm self-taught, so I basically taught myself how to paint. It just came naturally. You know, sometimes you just have these God-given talents that you just learn how to develop. But yeah, no one taught me. I'm self-taught. I just did it. I've been doing it for a while, painting and drawing, and I eventually just got really good with it. That's a good question. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to continue. We're going to keep going. Let's add some more trees. This one's going to be a really tall one. So I'm going to drag it all the way down. Okay. And again, remember, we start with really short lines. So we're going to use the corner of our brush. We're going to use the corner of our brush and then tap on it like this. Okay, just a few taps. And then once we do a few taps at the top, now use all of your brush at full length. So I'm going to continue to tap on it, tap, 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 tap. And notice as I go further down, I'm making my lines longer. I'm continuing to tap. Don't make it so like abrupt, like it's short, then it's super long. You have to gradually, look how it's very gradual that I shift the length of the trees. And I just continue to tap on it, tap on it. You can make it as messy as you want, as neat as you want, as long as you apply the technique. Short at the top and gradually gets longer. So that's my second one. And I'm going to do a short one here. So for short ones, we need a shorter line. And then we use a corner file brush when we start off. And you're just mimicking the same exact process. Use a shorter part of your brush, the corner, when you start off. Eventually use the full length of your brush and continue to tap on it. Okay, and there I have 3 trees. Yeah, you can make your trees a different color if you want to. You can definitely make it blue. Well, actually, I wouldn't do blue because the background is blue. It won't stand out. You can do probably gray. You can do white. Actually, white would probably look good. Okay, so, okay, we'll try it. We'll do a white tree. Let's see how that looks. So I'm going to rinse off my brush, wipe it off on my napkin, and let's see how a white tree looks against this. So I'm going to dip into my white. So it's at the edge of my brush, and I'm going to make my line. So I'm going to make this one a little bit taller. I'm going to drag it down. Okay, see my white line? Okay, and we'll finish off with our white tree here. Same exact method. It's very repetitive. Start with the corner of your brush. Tap on it. You want these lines at the top to be a little bit shorter. That's why you're using the corner of your brush. Once you have a few leaves here at the top, then I want you to tap using the full length of your brush. So tap, 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 tap. Oh, that looks really good with the white. I'm going to keep going. The further I go down, my lines should be wider. Okay, if you run out of paint, dip into some more. Okay, ready? And we're going to continue to tap. But notice my lines are getting longer. And I go all the way down right by the hill. Okay, and there's my white tree. Look at that. I actually think I want it to be a little bit over the hill a little bit. We'll do it that way. Yeah. Okay, and then go back if you need to. Touch up anything on your tree. Oh, look at that. Yeah, the white is super cute. Okay, so that is the final step, you guys. So let me hold it a little bit closer so y'all can see what I have. See that? So we did some splatter, we did some trees. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And I want to continue. Again, this was the first session. So there may be some things I have to tune up and fix. This is my first time going live, you all. So I want to continue to do this every single week. Again, we'll set a date, either Mondays or Wednesdays. And then you can join me every week in Paint with Nay. So yeah, again, I hope you guys had an awesome time. Make sure you sign your painting. I usually sign my paintings at the bottom right with my initial. Okay, thank you guys for joining. Shout out to Kay the PA. If you're into the medical field, you want to become a PA or EMT, she has really helpful tips. Okay, and Rasa Lawn Care, if you're in the Winter Haven and Lakeland area, they do lawn care. Okay. All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks for joining.